here.
It's all for you.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
Whatever you do, don't.
Real soft and sensual. You can't laugh too hard, because if we do, it goes past the peak limit, and then we're screwed.
So I'll just laugh like this.
The skull at the intro. The skull at the intro goes like that.
So that's what we're gonna do. Every time one of us laughs in the podcast, we'll cut it out and just replace it with
we'll just replace it with
a sound effect. All right.
I mean, I feel like this is a good time to start as any. So.
Yeah, all right, let's start it.
Hey guys, this is the Family of Fear podcast Resurrection with Jaron Lewis and my new co-host Corey Simpson.
Hello.
If you guys remember way back in the day, you true fans of the Family of Fear Instagram page.
All five of you?
All 5 of you. All 2,000 plus of you.
Sorry.
2,000 loyal fans that are awesome. We had a podcast way back in the day. It was me, my friend Josh, and my friend Chalk, who does Movies Maniacs. He's super cool. I'm here bringing it back, trying to make some spooky horror podcasts with my friend. And I think we're going to have a good show for you guys, and I'm super excited to see where this takes us. Corey, you want to introduce the episode today, what we're going to talk about?
Today I thought we were going to talk about, as a good session 0 for the podcast, we could talk about kind of our roots in horror and where we come from with the genre, you know.
Yeah.
What? I'll just ask this to you then. What movie did you see when you were younger or teenage life? I found horror a little bit later on in life than a lot of true diehard fans did. But how about for you? What movie kind of kicked that off for you?
The first scary movie, like real scary movie, test of my mettle situation happened to me. I think I was like 12 years old. Now, I'm 22, just to clarify this. I'm a younger generational horror fan. Got into the like newer, older stuff, and been loving it ever since. I was 12 years old. It was when the first Dark Knight series came out. And it was with Scarecrow and all that. And I said I didn't want to see that movie because it was too scary. My brother and his friend made fun of me. They bullied me. They were like, you're too scared for Batman. And I felt like a total wimp. And I was with my dad and them at the theater. And I go, you know what? I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to watch the scariest movie that's out right now. And the remake of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise was what came out. And I was horrified. But I was like keeping my cool together. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go watch this movie. I'm going to go watch it with my dad. And I'm going to prove them wrong because I'm not a wimp. I can handle Batman. So I went and saw War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise remake, which some people say it doesn't hold up. You know what? I'm going to say this on the record. I like the film. I still do. I love it. I think it's a great one.
That's
I think
fair.
Tom Cruise runs a lot in it.
A lot of good Tom Cruise runs in that movie.
And you know what? When he runs, apparently that movie makes $70,000. It's like a statistically analyzed
I watched a YouTube video about that.
And it's weird.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any
weird.
sense. So if Tom Cruise runs in your movie, you're going to make a lot of money. So I get there watching this, scary alien scenes. I'm like covering my eyes a couple times. But at the end of it, my brother and his friend were like, dude, we wouldn't even watch that. They were like 16. Like, that movie looked scary as hell. Congrats. They apologized. And I walked away and I was like, you know what? I can handle that. I could probably handle worse than that. And I got into it. I started venturing into different horror films. The first series I ever fell in love with was The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's college hit with the budget of $350,000. Bruce Campbell, all them just literally leaving college and immediately like working on this film.
Local too, Morristown, Tennessee.
Yeah, super local,
yeah.
like right near us. We're located near Chattanooga, Tennessee. Don't want to give the actual name of our town because it's kind of lame. But no, that whole film series sparked the interest in like the older horror films, and from there it's history. I'm a huge enthusiast, collector, and creative, and at this point, I just want to do nothing but pour into this genre.
Right on.
Corey, tell me about your experience, bro. How did it start for you?
A little bit less intense, I guess. Well,
Did they get bullied into it?
Actually, I did not get bullied into it. Probably the first time that I injected horror was the first Child's Play movie when I was near.
You inject horror? You don't smoke it?
No, I don't smoke it. I inject it. I want it straight in my veins.
Straight right between the toes.
Probably 6th grade. Probably 5th grade to 6th grade. I had a friend who, much braver than I, had seen Child's Play and I tried to watch Child's Play, and it freaked me out. It gave me a good wariness of any dolls that were around me from all that time. I was like a doll radar. Anytime I saw a doll, I was like, my head would dart to it just to make sure that it wasn't moving around me. I had reoccurring nightmares about Child's Play. I didn't even get halfway through the movie, Jaron. I could not do it. Instead, to dip my toes in, I would have him recount the plot to me so that I didn't have to watch it.
And you could tell people like as if you did.
I did not. I didn't claim to have seen it. You know, I wasn't trying to act a badass. I just wanted to know. I needed to know.
Yeah.
So I quit after that. I didn't really. I would watch some, you know, nominally scary stuff, you know, I guess. Like what came out around the time that was the early 2000s, you know, I guess.
Like Sixth Sense kind of crap.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
Signs, M. Night Shyamalan.
The M. Night Shyamalan horror films where it's not super scary. But it's like a little spooky. Ooh.
So after that, though, when I was a little bit older, near the end of middle school, going into high school, I discovered Scream, which I had known existed, obviously, because it came out in the 90s. I had just never seen it. And I sat down to watch it, and hoo boy, that sent me off the deep end. I just felt braver. I absolutely loved it. And it still remains to this day probably my favorite slasher movie. I will defend it to the grave.
1996 came out the year I was born, man. That's one of those, like, I look back at the year of, like, the movie year that you come from, and the two that I had was Scream and From Dusk Till Dawn, and I'm super okay with that.
Dang, dude, that's rad. I need to look that. I'm actually gonna look that up.
What
right
your
now.
birth year horror films are?
Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend everybody look that up. Like, what's the best horror film that came out with the year you were born?
Let's see here. I've got Candyman.
Nice, Tony Todd. Jordan Peele's bringing that back as a producer.
Army of Darkness.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies ever.
Hellraiser 3. Alien 3. Okay. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Dude, that's a good one. Solid.
Yeah. Dr. Giggles. That movie scared the shit out of me.
That one flew under the radar.
It freaked me out.
Yeah.
Dude, no. I was scared to go to the dentist for a while after I watched that when I was a little younger.
I feel like everybody's scared to go to the dentist no matter who they are.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Child's Play, freaks you out really bad.
Yeah, it did, dude. I had, like, reoccurring nightmares of Chucky. And then, you know, as a little kid's mind wanders, you know, sometimes, like, I would think that, you know, a shadow out of the corner of my eye was, like, a luscious lock of red hair turning the corner of something, you know. I was freaked out by it a lot.
You've seen the movie completely now.
Oh, 100%.
What was the scariest scene when you saw? Like, which one? Like,
I think the scariest scene to me probably in that movie now would be probably the first time Chucky, like, shows himself to someone.
Was that when she's like, talk or I'll throw you in the fire?
Yeah.
And he's like, you bitch, I'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, because he kind of plays this count, like, he plays like a cat and mouse game the entire time, and then there's that one, kind of, I guess, would be kind of the climax of the movie, kind of was when he finally reveals himself as like an intelligent doll to the mom, you know? And that, man, that was powerful. Like, just looking back, seeing it, it was like crazy. It was crazy how, you know, when did that movie come out? Was it 89 or something, probably?
It was when Chris Sarandon was at his peak in these random horror films like that. Fright Night.
It was so crazy looking back on that and being like, man, I actually probably, like, that was, like, pretty good to be scared of. I mean, that's kind of a terrifying film.
Chucky scared me so bad. That scene with, it was, like, right before that scene where she opens up the empty batteries and he turns his head and he's like, hi, I'm Chucky, you want to play?
Oh, yeah.
And she drops him.
Yes.
That scene gave me nightmares the first time I saw it. I was like, dude, could you imagine?
I'll just unplug the TV. Oh, shit, the TV's not going off.
It's like okay, this is immediately not supposed to be happening. It's scary. You know what? Actually, I think this is a good segue to a conversation that I feel like you're not going to want to have. The new Child's Play coming out.
Super excited about it.
Ooh, are you?
No, I'm actually like I respect that series now. Like I've watched probably the first 3, and it kind of lost me after that.
Well, they kind of did everything like every slasher Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, they always like end up like kind of running the series like the length. Like they make it go a while just to see what they can come up with it. And I think the most like diverse and most just insane like the way like they developed the character was the Child's Play 2 Chucky saga with like the Bride of Chucky and the Son of Chucky, and it's like all those like and they like almost made like this fun comedy slasher of these killer dolls. And
see, that's actually what I really love about it, is the fact that like the first one was pretty like scary in a way, but it was still had a really nice like piece of camp to it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really appreciate with horror movies and stuff like that, is the sense of camp without worrying about it. Like sometimes you get a weird valley of like, oh, this is campy and it's not good. But then sometimes movies are self-aware and you're like, okay, like I'm rolling with this.
And that's 100% when the Child's Play turned into the Chucky franchise, like they immediately were like, we're gonna make spoofs and we're gonna have a fun time killing people and it's gonna be a fun movie.
Exactly. While also kind of retaining that horror.
And that's kind of how like the Nightmare on Elm Streets went with like Dream Warriors and stuff like that, and with the Friday the 13th series, like, especially Freddy vs. Jason, like that's as campy and fun as it gets, dude.
I think this is probably a really controversial statement, but Jason X is probably one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies.
My favorite Jason kill ever is the cryogenic face bust.
That
That's
is
my favorite
also
kill he's ever done, and that's Kane Hodder, who is my favorite Jason, who's everybody's favorite Jason. Most people's favorite Jason.
Yeah.
And then, Derek Mears being the new guy, he's super sweet, he's a super nice guy. But that, when he freezes her face and
that's my favorite. That's my favorite kill too.
Awesome.
And also in that movie when he goes into the virtual reality program and it's the two campers and he puts them in the sleeping bag and he's just hitting them against each other.
It was so funny. Like the movie, like the idea was so insane, but yet it worked so well.
Oh, guys, he just wanted his machete back.
Dude, it literally was just flawless execution. And then like the ultimate Jason version of him was super,
proto Jason.
Yeah, super badass.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I guess like back to the new Child's Play coming out though. We got sidetracked on slashers. Let me say this. No, that's no issue. Let me say this though. I'm worried because I'm not a big fan of these new generation like Bluetooth and like technology scary kind of movies. Like if someone is like, be afraid of drones, it's like, well, that's a practical fear, but how do we throw a killer doll in the mix of this?
See?
And so the trailer, I feel like, did not reveal a lot, and Mark Hamill being the voice of Chucky, super cool. Yeah. Super excited about that. However, it's a character that has a huge series behind it, that this particular film, I think, sidelined Don Mancini, the producer and the original main guy behind these series. He's not involved with this one.
No, he's not.
And I think he didn't want it to happen. I think he protested this 100%.
He's also got his own TV show of Chucky coming out.
Yeah, he has a TV show coming out.
A Child's Play TV show.
Which is going to be interesting to have the movie and then the TV show come out, but they're completely different people doing them.
Right. So
it's going to be odd to see how they do that, because I feel like this new Child's Play is coming out. There's no hope of a sequel or series to spawn off of this.
So the one thing that I'm excited about the Child's Play is probably the one thing that you're worried about, is that I like that they have kind of brought it into like a new age where it's like a killer AI, because I mean, you know me, I'm a big sci-fi guy.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff interests me. So I'm really excited to see kind of like where they take that. Like if he can maybe infect other pieces of technology too with his artificial intelligence, so that we kind of get like a Child's Play Maximum Overdrive kind of like cross.
Which is what it seems like. It seems like it's going to be a Maximum Overdrive kind of style film. It looks like all technology, all hell's breaking loose, and like your
local Best Buy.
Your local Best Buy is a death trap. And so, and it's kind of interesting.
R.I.P. those workers.
I just think it's odd that it's like he can control these devices. And I guess they haven't explained all that, because again, it is very minimal like viewing in the trailer. You see it, you get it, they have released a picture of his face. I am not crazy about the design.
The design's interesting. I'll say it's interesting. It's not... I haven't seen it obviously articulated in motion, but it's creepy as hell.
They said that it's going to be 80% practical effects, which means 20% not practical, but obviously it's a newer film, and, with money you can, like, that's probably like a jumping scene or some running scenes and stuff like that. But 80% of that design is practical effects, and it does not look it at all. It looks like a CGI Chucky.
So, and which
it's
makes
so
it creepier to me.
Which does make it a lot creepier,
Yeah.
which makes me excited to see how they're going to be moving this puppet on camera. Because, like, if it's going to be talking weird and going crazy, like, that's going to be scary. Well, I'm afraid what it means is that the body itself is going to be practical, and the character itself is going to be practical, but the facial movements, the animation on its talking, that's going to be CGI.
Yeah,
and
or they could do puppet and then touch it up with CGI, which is also fine.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, I mean, as long as, like, I think, and when you root it in practical effects, that's when you're going to succeed with, like, the design. And I think that's what they're going for, which I'm happy about. However, I am a little worried about this franchise taking this, or these people taking this franchise and turning it into a remake, which, again, you know, my opinion on remakes are split in the middle. I love some of them, I hate most of them.
I would argue that this is not a remake, it's a reboot.
I just don't think I think it's gonna be a reboot that dies with the first film.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair assessment. It's hard to judge stuff like that when you change up the pivotal, like, you know, Charles Lee Ray makes a pact with, is it just like he
does voodoo magic.
He does voodoo magic.
Put his soul into a doll because he got shot next to one, which is
right. So,
originally and also batshit crazy idea for a film. So
when you leave that and kind of pivot to something brand new, you know, I feel like that would worry a lot of fans.
I wonder if it's gonna be like a situation where the killer is implemented into this technology, or if it's going to be like a virus or something.
I've actually heard rumored plot details. This is not confirmed, but rumored plot details is that it's some type of like disgruntled worker that programs a killer AI into like one of the dolls.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna see it.
Duh. You know what one thing I'm super excited about? Aubrey Plaza in this movie.
And you know what? That's another thing that I'm not excited about.
Oh man, we're just like butting heads.
This is a good start because now we know where we stand. You love this new Child's Play coming out with Aubrey Plaza?
I didn't say I loved it. I
said
like
the idea.
Interested in seeing it.
I am. I'm not super crazy. I mean, I think she is a great actress. I think she's a character actress, which is like I feel like most people agree with me. Life After Beth, awesome. I thought that movie was hilarious and super fun. I just feel like in this one, her just being like an oblivious mother is going to be like, the cat and mouse game is going to be a little bit too on the nose in this one.
I was going to say though, like, isn't Andy's mom pretty oblivious in the first one?
But she's not like a pouty, moody oblivious.
Well, she's not a millennial mom.
She's like a Andy. She's not
like
a what Andy. That's my Aubrey Plaza.
This is
impersonation.
This is updated though. This is millennial mom.
That's true. And you know, and I guess she does fit that character nicely.
Yeah.
So then, you know what, I'll take it back what I said. I don't think there's gonna be an issue with it. However, I will say this: I am worried about where they're taking it, and I'm interested to see what happens. And I hope they kill it. I hope it's a great movie, and I hope Don Mancini has no hard feelings about it, and I hope his TV series is also amazing. And if he brings Nick and Tosca onto it because they've been working together, then I know without a doubt it's going to be amazing.
I love Nick and Tosca, and I'm saying that because humble brag. Me and him had dinner together when he was in Chattanooga for a small horror film.
I'm so jealous of you.
Yeah, we just sat around and had tacos together for like an hour and a half, and he was like one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
You need to get him on here, dude.
That would be cool.
That'd be so cool.
Nick and Tosca, come on the show.
Yeah, if you're listening, you remember Corey? You got tacos with him. He was the one who showed you Tacanooga.
No, I showed him La Altina on Main Street.
Oh, okay. Actually, I don't think I've been there.
It's awesome, man. It's a pretty good restaurant.
Did he say he liked it?
Yeah, he said he liked it. He ordered another round of tacos after he ate the first.
Then he owes you a favor for a great taco. I think we can end up getting him on this show. And if you're listening, Nick, we're big fans. Please hop on, give us your opinions on all this.
I want to talk to him more about Channel Zero because that's probably one of my favorite horror TV shows of all time.
I would say without a doubt it's mine. I think it's just the most well done and just well put together piece of horror movie art.
And terrifying.
So scary. So scary. And
Dream Door was terrifying to me.
Absolutely.
That's one thing. Okay, all into my psyche a little bit. That's one thing that terrifies me is unrealistic humanoid creatures, like how the I think his name was
Pretzel Jack.
Pretzel Jack.
Mhm.
Yeah, not Laughing Jack.
Played
Pretzel
by,
Jack.
I don't know his last name, he calls himself Twisty Troy.
Yes.
He's a body contortionist.
And he's been in a ton of horror movies,
He's
too.
he's on the Flash, the CW TV series. He plays, I think, is maybe
he plays Ragdoll.
Ragdoll. That's it. With the red dreadlocks and the white mask.
I actually really like that. It creeped me out.
Yeah, he and you know what's fun is like he seems like he really likes the genre of being like a scary character. I feel like he's really liking it, and I feel like we're gonna see him in a lot more stuff coming up.
What's the horror actor? Speaking of like character actors like that have unnaturalistic body.
There's Javier Botet and
that's it.
Doug
Javier
Jones.
Botet.
Those are the two.
Javier Botet in Crimson Peak.
Outstanding.
With like the combination of practical makeup with like his rib cut out into CGI was just so unnerving to me. It was insane.
If you see him and you see Doug Jones, who did the Creature in the Shape of Water, and he played the Gillman from Hellboy.
Also in Pan's Labyrinth too.
Yeah,
I think.
He did. Pan's Labyrinth I think was Javier doing the Child Eater guy.
Oh yeah, with the eyes in his hands.
Yeah, and like those two, I think I've worked together on. I think he actually Doug Jones was also on Crimson Peak as one of the witches as well.
Okay.
Or one of the.
Javier Botet was actually the mother and mama too.
Yeah, and so like you take like people whose just bodies are just so insanely odd.
That creeps me out.
And you take that and like you like and it's funny. It's like, oh, these guys just played nothing but like horrifying creatures. Like I'm pretty sure Javier Botet played the creature in Wreck, one of the like old school found footage horror film, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
Was it with the Spanish version?
Or, the Spanish version, not Quarantine. Let me tell you, the Quarantine was okay. Wreck is way scarier.
I don't think I've seen Quarantine. I think I've just seen Wreck.
Well, good for you. You should watch Quarantine though. You know, it's like America. We did our best on it. Quarantine 2 is a completely different thing, and it's still the same storyline but a different area. And I don't even think it's found footage, but it's really good. And I don't know, dude, like, when you have an actor who, like, knows what their body can do and what they're capable of, and they are character actors and they play these characters insanely well, like Doug Jones, Javier Botet, and Troy, the guy who plays Pretzel Jack. I needed to learn his last name. I should have just looked it up. If you got it, you pull it up.
I'm going to look it up right now.
They really do pour into their roles, and they are just, like, awesome people. Actually, I have a friend named Parker who just delivered a speech on Nosferatu, the film, at this convention in DC, and he met Doug Jones, and he's like super nice guy, super well posed, like super cool dude. And these guys are just awesome. Like they know what their bodies can do, and they freaking push it to the limit to make some really scary characters.
Troy James,
Twisty Troy James. Yeah, that guy. He was on America's Got Talent doing like the backwards jumping walks. It was horrifying. I never seen somebody crab walk and then jump. He looked like an animal doing it. Like he looked like a gazelle, like hopping up. I
love that when I type in his name in Google, like one of the first articles that come up is talking about how nightmarish it was for him to play that character in Channel Zero.
Pretzel Jack.
Yeah, and it's a whole article about how no CG was used to touch up his character and stuff.
And
which is even more
the
terrifying.
Makeup and effects for almost the entirety of Channel Zero was Mind Warp effects. They're super crazy. They did some really insane gore, and if you haven't seen the Channel Zero, like, oh my gosh, you're missing out. In my opinion, it blows American Horror Story out of the water compared to like plots and like writing. It's really interesting. The makeup that they did for Pretzel Jack was super creepy, and Troy James, the way his body moved just completely complemented the makeup and the character, and just he was horrifying.
I mean, look at that face.
He's so scary.
Ugh.
So scary.
And then look how nice he looks. He looks like such a nice guy.
Yeah, no, and like his interviews, he's super sweet. He seems like a super cool dude.
That's my favorite thing. That's actually changing the topic a little bit, you know? That's my one favorite thing about the horror genre is that most of like the monster actors and like killer actors and stuff like that are the nicest people you've ever met in your entire life.
They're like super friendly.
Yeah.
When I met Derek Mears, you walk up to that man, he's like 6'6". He's just a giant dude, and he will talk to you for as long as you want. Like he wants to talk to you. It's not even like if like you're at a convention, you know how they have those like people at tables next to him who are like, all right, come on, you got other people wanting to meet. Yeah, you got stuff you got to sign.
Yeah.
Speed it up. If he didn't have that there, he would talk to somebody for hours. He's super sweet, super nice, and everybody in the genre is. Everybody's super sweet. Everybody's like real like friendly because they know like, hey, this is a weird group of people. We're all kind of weird from social looking in, and so we're all super nice to each other on the inside. It's really cool. I really like how it works. It's almost like a family affair.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
All right, well,
Great
that's
name.
all for tonight's episode.
It's a good name.
That's probably how this podcast is gonna go, right? We're gonna start out talking about a topic and then just get completely off the rails.
It's gonna sideline, and like I think how it's gonna end up going for the people still listening to this, like, hi, how's it going? Appreciate you being here. I think we're gonna end up getting some interviews with people. We're gonna cover a lot of short horror films because I feel like they're not really seeing the light of day when it comes to topics discussed online. I feel like they'll get like an article here and there, but that's it. But like some of these short horror films are the actual future feature-length horror films that you're going to be watching, and I think we want to talk about them. I mean, Lights Out, the classic short horror film, spawned into James Wan's pet project, producing project, and I mean that guy's now the guy who directed that's now like directing the new Annabelle or something.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And so like you never know like what short little project you work on can blow up and become something crazy for the genre.
So let's talk about kind of going back to what our first topic of this kind of first episode, session 0 was how we got started in the horror genre. You know, yours was War of the Worlds.
Mine was proving a point that I wasn't a wimp.
You were proving a point with War of the Worlds. So that was your first introduction, right? We got mine. It was I moved on from hearing the plot of Child's Play to Scream to watching, opening a door for me. What is yours that really kicked you? So you did War of the Worlds to prove a point, but what was it for you that really ignited the flame?
I think so. Like I am a amateur director, filmmaker. I'm getting into it. Like I work primarily in videography and cinematography. I want to be a full-fledged horror film director. The one series, and I mentioned it earlier, was Evil Dead.
Right.
Watching Sam Raimi and those guys work bare bones on this set because they were like, hey, like we've made like a short film like Within the Woods. We're gonna see if we can get it like as a drive-in release. And then they were sitting there, they're getting producers behind it, and they're like, we don't really have to make this a drive-in release. Like they're going like, we have a lot of good stuff here. The practical effects, the amount of blood, because Sam Raimi loves blood.
As much as you can. How much blood can we afford in the budget? As much as possible.
The fact that movie, and like, I mean, that movie spawned like so many like great stuff from other directors, like the Coen brothers, like worked with Sam Raimi on set on like the Evil Dead series, and they like even implemented some of his like video techniques in like their films.
Right.
And so it's like seeing this tiny film, this $350,000 budget movie in a cabin in the woods with a very almost like pretty simple plot line that turned into this cult phenomenon. I loved it. I love every second of it. And it's one of the, like, if you look at like the niche like groups of like horror films, like you see Evil Dead as one of the larger ones because a lot of people, I feel like with me, like we watched it, we were like, these guys did it. These guys did it right out of college. It was just them and their friends. They made this movie, they got money, they got people that trusted them behind it, and they made something that turned into a worldwide phenomenon.
Right. Kind of like a little indie film that came out of Texas in the summer of 1974.
Ooh. And so what you have is just this inspirational story of people fresh out of college wanting to make something big, making it cool, making it good, and inspiring everybody else to do the same, to go into this genre and to like create gore and to create monsters and just go wild with it. And I don't know, watching it, I was like, this was fun.
So you not only have just a fan appreciation of Evil Dead, you've got a personal connection to Evil Dead.
I will defend it to the grave. And what's funny is everyone's like, oh, then you must love Evil Dead 2. And it's like, I do. I love Evil Dead 2. However, Evil Dead 1 is the better, in my opinion. It's not as comedic and doesn't have as many memorable moments as Evil Dead 2. However, you can't beat the classic that started it all. Army of Darkness actually technically is my favorite movie ever, though. I say that if someone asks me what my favorite film ever is, I say Army of Darkness because Bruce Campbell nails it home every single time for me. Just love listening to that guy talk. Doesn't matter what he's talking about.
It's weird to see kind of like how people perceive horror in different ways. For me, after I kind of like got my feet into the slasher genre, I had a VHS tape of Jurassic Park that I wore the reel off of. And that scared me. Jurassic Park scared me.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say Jurassic Park is a horror film.
Yeah, technically, yes. I mean, it's technology.
I'm pretty sure Spielberg would consider it a horror film.
And, I mean, man, that's...
And he's no stranger to that. Like, Jaws. So...
That scene when the goat hits the window, when the severed goat leg hits the window... Oh my gosh.
I think what they really went for, like, when it kind of, like, went to the classic slasher scariness in Jurassic Park, is when the Velociraptor's opening the door, and he's, like, learning how to open the door of his claws, and you're like,
they know! They know!
Get out of there!
Like, that's...
The worst part about that movie was, That's
It's crazy that, technically, it's, like, Jurassic Park is a slasher movie. It's just that the dinosaurs are the slashers.
It's more of a chompy movie. Oh, Chompies. That's even the name of the dinosaurs. The little baby dinosaurs that bite your face. Those things are dicks.
Oh, the Compsogno...
Compies? Or is it Chompies?
Compies.
I call them Chompies.
I mean, that works.
Yeah, it sounds like
it works the same.
It sounds like the exact same.
But, yeah, I mean, it's... Everybody comes from different horror walks of life, and I think that's one thing that we're really going to touch on this podcast is the appreciation of all horror, no matter, how big and small that is. I mean, I would like to get into some movie reviews probably sometime soon. But
we're absolutely going to review movies. We have to, because this is what the foundation of like this fan base is these films, and I think we're going to cover some good ones, but we're not going to be covering the common ones. We're going to be covering some deep cut.
Ooh, the deep cuts?
Some deep cuts. I'm going to give you a little teaser name. Piranaconda.
Don't laugh when you say that name.
It's such a good movie.
It's an excellent film.
It's an amazing film. It is so well done beyond anything I've ever seen before in my entire life.
Okay. That is you're looking at me real weird right now, and I understand your sarcasm there, but to be completely honest with you...
They can't see my sarcasm. Let me just say this. Family of Fear, the reason we even have that name, is because, like, personally, my, like, immediate family, cousins, and parents, and brothers and sisters, like, we all have ties into this genre. We all experience it together, and we all have a great time together. Like, if it wasn't for my brother, I wouldn't have even, like, wanted to go see it, and if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have made it through it. And so we all, like, we're in it together, and we're hoping that with this we can bring on some people to talk with us and really build a community around just this love of the genre, and this, like, let's get away from that separation of, like, creator versus fan, and let's just all come together and have a good time and talk about the things we love.
Hell yeah. All right.
All scare yourself.
I think we should wrap it up then.
Yeah, hey, appreciate you guys for listening. This is our first episode, and probably going to be a different format next time we do another one, but...
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this is like a really nice opening monologue of horror kind of intrigue.
Let you get to know us, and we'll see how it goes from here. We're excited for the things to come, and we hope you join us along the way.
Yeah, I can't wait for this train to leave the rails.
All right, you ready in it? Yeah?
Yes.
Woo!